Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
Do you like washing me?
This is episode 188, recorded August 18th, 2021.
Gruesome Magazine.
I'm going to go take a shower.
All right.
I'll be right there with you.
No, you won't. You
No, that came out totally wrong.
Bill's cat will do tricks until you get back. No? Okay.
No.
I am your host, Jeff Mohr, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-hosts, Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt, and I will tackle another classic or not-so-classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade. Joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, Living Dead Girl, blah, blah, blah. And co-host of the Gruesome Magazine podcast. I've been wanting you to slap me for a long time, Crystal. Yeah, I almost did. Well,
see, I have been a comic book character, but I've never drawn. Thankfully, you don't want me to draw that stuff because I'm not good at that. But
so how you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm super. Actually, I'm super. This was a good movie. I can't believe that I've never seen this movie before, and I now want to watch it again. I already want to watch it again. There's something about it. I don't know.
Oh, there's something about it, all right.
Yeah.
Also joining us is Chad Hunt, comic book artist, co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era, and Decades of Horror, the 1970s. How you doing, Chad?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I understand.
I have no idea right now.
Okay. Well, last but not least is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, and special effects guru, co-host of the Decades of Horror, the 1970s, and all-around nice guy.
Yay.
How are you, Bill?
Good. I'm the one who picked this mess, and I'm very interested to see what people think about it because it is something. It's
oh yeah, it's definitely something.
It's one of the reasons I like it, even though it's in many ways indefensible, is that it's one of those movies where I can totally see me making this movie.
It's a movie.
I was thinking the same thing when I was watching it. I said, you know what, Bill Mulligan can make this.
He'd do well with this one. Yeah. All right. Well,
let's dive into.
As you may know, and you know what, this picture is shown in all the images with the film. But that's not the eyes of the thing on the movie. It had those googly black eyes that slid around in there, I thought.
Well,
that looks like the eyes of the trunks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're doing The Pit from 1981, directed by Lew Lehman, written by Ian A. Stuart, an original screenplay. Cast includes Sammy, Snyders, Jeannie, Elias, Sonja Smits, Laura Hollingsworth, Andrea Swartz, and John Alden. The production company was Amulet Pictures. It is a Canadian film.
It sure is.
Distributed in the U.S. by New World Pictures. Filmed, even though it's Canadian, in Beaverdan, Waupun, and Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and some in Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, Oshkosh was the football stadium scenes for the University of Wisconsin at Oshkosh Titans. If you notice the green uniforms.
If you're a Canadian film group and you want to film in a place that you feel like you'll be comfortable, Beaver Dam.
Yeah. Anyway.
What were the other options? Moose Knuckle, Arkansas?
I don't know. Beaver Dam is a great town name. Yeah. Filming dates, September 4th to October 9th, 1979. And it was released like 2 years later on October 23rd, 1981. Budget, and this gets interesting, was about an estimated $1 million Canadian. But
the
box office was listed at $560.
And that's USA dollars.
That is, and that's literally that's in
One weekend, 2 theaters. Made
yeah.
$560.
Yeah, that was the opening weekend at 2 theaters, and then
I don't know what the
video
exchange
then.
rate was back in 1981, but I'm thinking that's probably a loss.
Yeah,
About $350.
I don't know. May have gone to video after that. Anyway, a solitary and strange preteen boy. A more understated description has never been made. Wreaks revenge on his harassers when he makes a disturbing discovery in the depth of the forest.
By depth of the forest, we mean 3 feet behind the back of his house.
Yeah,
But it's
saw
a
one.
mile away, remember?
You know how tired he would be schlepping that lady in the wheelchair through an actual forest?
Oh, yeah.
Well, not to mention her screaming the entire way and nobody noticing, apparently.
Nobody wants to get involved in, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin.
Let's take a look at some posters here. This is the one you see the most.
I love it.
I think. And I kind of like it.
Yeah, what's not to love? Creepy kid, glowing-eyed teddy bear, someone dying, and a bunch of creepy eyes in the dark. Yeah, I can't believe I passed this movie by because it was in every video store back in the day. Every video store had the Pit.
Yeah.
Somehow I just never got around to seeing it. Although I love this one. Check that out.
Bill calls this the best one.
It looks like
Teddy
a
and
5th grade scholastic book.
So,
It does.
Yeah, it does.
so this is it does.
Well, this whole movie was like an after-school special. The boy
Yes.
nobody liked.
Mhm.
Well, get this: the title is French, and when you plug it into a French translator, it says Teddy Death Plush.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
So
The
I think
deadly
they're
teddy bear or
calling
something.
teddy. I think
Yeah.
they're calling the stuffed toys a plush. Is that
Mm-hmm.
is that the
Plushy.
thing?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Apparently, there was a time when Teddy was the focal point of this movie, and then I think they realized.
Well, the book, I think. There's a book called
Yeah,
Teddy.
there-
I think.
there is.
Yeah.
and,
So I
and
think.
I think at
We
some
actually
point they're
have
like,
that?
that's not. Yeah, there he is on the bomb.
As
It was
the
gonna be-
cover
I think
of
it was gonna be all
the
about Teddy.
paperback.
And then he got
The,
pushed out for the Trogs, and he's probably every day he showed up on set and looked at the rewritten screenplay. It's like, damn, where are my lines? Yeah, poor Teddy.
That
happens.
video cover at the top is the one I recall. In the
Oh, okay.
Did they just rip off Evil Dead for that woman there?
Looks
Well,
like
I'm
it.
like, who is she?
They ripped
Because
off several
she's
movies.
not
Yeah.
anyone, I don't think, in the movie.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Something on the poster that's not in the movie? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we only have a couple taglines. Chad,
Okay.
you ready?
I can see. I can read them. Reading them ahead of time, I can see why you picked the one.
That's it. That's it.
All right. Jamie wouldn't kill anyone now unless Teddy told him to.
Mm.
Stupid Teddy.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody got their calculators? Because we're going to have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Down in the pit, there's something alive. Half human, half monster, half crazed. Pray to God it only kills you. Because if it doesn't, you're going to have to deal with this math problem of 3 halves.
Oh, yeah.
See, that it should have said half human, half monster, all crazed or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
Half human, half yeah.
I mean, if he's half crazed, it means he's half sane. So I don't know.
Although the last part, pray to God, it only kills
But-
you. May not.
Yeah. No, that doesn't even make any sense. That's all it
Right.
does. That's all they do is eat and kill people. It's not like they tortured.
Well, it's like I'm praying that he only kills me, not kills me and eats me. Frankly, once you've killed me, knock
Yeah,
yourself
what does it
out. I don't
matter?
care. It's not
Yeah.
going to make any difference to me. I'm going to be looking down from heaven like, oh, well. Or looking up. Either way, I'm going to be looking. It doesn't really matter.
This one has some fun, and I know I'll screw these up. Some fun AKAs. In German, it was Teddy, die Grube des Grauens, the Pit of Horrors.
Okay.
Teddy, the Pit of Horrors. maybe Teddy and the Pit of Horrors, but Teddy is not a Pit of Horrors, is he? I don't
Good
know.
name for a band, Teddy and the Pit of Horrors.
Teddy con el diablo adentro. Teddy with the devil inside. Maybe Teddy possessed by the devil? I don't know. They're just... Okay.
So people are going to be real disappointed if they're really into killer dolls and they go see this movie, and it's like Teddy's really not a big factor.
I wonder if there was another movie out at the time that was similar to this that was popular, and this is maybe a cash in on it or something. Because it just kind of, why Teddy? Yeah. Why now?
Sort of dies. All right. Well, let's go with first impressions, and since this is Bill's pick. He can go first. Bill, when did you first see this? And I think we already heard this once, but
well, I mean, it was in every video store, and I just kept passing it by. And I remember reading a review. There was a horror writer, Chaz Ballin, back in the 80s or so, did a whole bunch of, really got me into some gory stuff. The first guy introduced me to Fulci, and he wrote a review about it, and it just sounded so stupid that I think it turned me off. And I don't know when it was that I finally did see it, but I finally rented it, and it was so freaking Canadian. By that point, I had seen a lot of 80s Canadian horror movies, and as soon as this thing starts, I'm like, I don't care if it was done in Beaver Dam, it's Canadian. And there's something about Canadian horror movies from that time. You know, you watch any 10 seconds of Rock and Roll Nightmare, and they're like, Canadian. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, they just have even though it's right across the border, there is a definite different vibe. There's something about them, the way they're shot, and I don't know. It just, to me, this was such a fascinating mess of a movie that just was throwing everything it could against the wall. You could have cut Teddy right the hell out. Or you could have cut the Trogs out, and it could have gone either way. Or you could have cut it all out, as I guess they intended to, and actually make a psychological horror story about a really messed up kid. But it's what it is. It's just all these things thrown together. It's got comedy that had to be deliberate because it's just too over the top not to be. But then it's got some real skeevy undertones that you're like, oh, that took a dark turn. And then it's got the perfect ending. So it's not the most competently made movie ever, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a lot of ways. But there's just something so 80s about this. This to me is a perfect example of very low budget 80s horror. You know, lower even than Humanoids from the Deep. They say they spent $1 million on this. Yeah, well, cocaine prices must have been up at the time, because I don't see $1 million in this.
That's estimated.
Yeah, that's an estimate. You know. Oh yeah. We spent $1 million. That's what we spent, and you made 560. That part I believe. But I like this film, and if you're a fan of 80s low budget trash, give it a look. I'd say.
All right. Crystal Cleveland. What did you think of The Pit?
Okay, so this was my first time watching this movie, and I don't know what I would have thought of this as a kid watching it. It's so cringy, it's so gross, and I love it. I really love this movie. I was like watching it, and I was okay. So what I didn't like is I was turned off in the beginning. I don't know why they put this middle scene at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then have all this stuff and then go back to that. I feel like that was odd. I think that was the wrong way to do it. I think they should have just started out with this kid getting busted, you know, with his nudie art books. Because once it got there, I liked it and it made sense. But that beginning part, I was lost. I was like, what is going on here? It was hard to hear. You didn't know who these characters were. I didn't really understand it. So I feel like that was like a misstep in the editing. But once it got started, holy moly, this movie's so off it's rocker. It's so gross. like like this kid. Oh my god, this kid. If I was that babysitter, I would lose it. I was so disgusted by him, but he's so compelling. Because it's like, oh,
Are you okay?
He doesn't have any friends. It's just so weird because you feel for this kid because you see the way he gets treated and everything, and you're like sad about that. But it's funny because at the times when he gets treated poorly by others, he's usually not acting like a weirdo. Mm-hmm. It's the other times that he actually acts like a weirdo. And so it's like, okay, this is so strange. And the Teddy thing, I mean, is there a Teddy? I feel like he's just, paranoid schizophrenic and, Teddy is his inner monologue, obviously, or whatever. But, I mean, some of the stuff that he does, this kid is so hypersexual.
Yeah.
There's not much gore in this movie. And yet it completely held my attention. So there's something to that. I think it was a little long, but I think Bill said, about an after school special. Yeah, it's like an after school special gone really, really badly. And I really liked it. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
What can you say?
Okay.
So
now we move on to the Chad.
The Chad.
I, on the other hand, I'm like Bill. I always saw this and passed it up in the video store, and this is the first time I've ever watched it. I forgot about it. As soon as Blockbuster went under, I forgot about it. A lot of movies,
right.
But 15-year-old Chad would love this movie. He would have loved this movie. But Chad now, it was tough for me, and it wasn't anything to do with the actors or anything like that. It was just story parts that really aggravated me. It was just so nasty.
Cringy. It's so cringy.
And I'm sure the guy now is just the nicest guy you ever want to meet, and he's, but this character, I wanted to strangle this kid every 5 minutes he was on screen. Just found him annoying, and I didn't feel sorry for him at all.
Okay. You did. Okay. See,
the thing, I know he was getting bullied and everything, but 10 minutes after meeting him, I was like, no wonder they're kicking his ass. He's a jerk. He's killing people, but
he's unlikable. He's very, and that's weird because usually these movies are the kid is picked on, and then he finds some way to have his revenge, and you're sort of with him because who hasn't been picked on? But it's like I kind of feel like if I lived in that town, I'd be one of the people picking on him because he's a creep.
Yeah, and he just, I don't know. No, I didn't get the thing with Teddy at first. I thought maybe this has a supernatural bend to it, but what I got out of it at the end was it was all in his head. But
he does turn his head at one point.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't there a scene where Teddy? So maybe he's like the ventriloquist dummy from Humanoids from the Deep.
Yeah. Well, they never explained it, did they?
No, they didn't.
No, that was just a secondary. And you'd think Teddy would have warned him about the end. I mean, come on, there's so much to it. It's like, no, don't leave me.
And Teddy was saying some pretty nasty things, like when he took the pictures of the neighbor's mom, I'm gonna look at this a lot.
It's so crazy.
I became ashamed of myself at that point. What am I watching? But it's a weird movie, and I don't know. I didn't hate it. There was some good gore in there, and what I thought were creature effects, but it looked like satanic Ewoks when they were in the daylight.
Yeah.
But a lot of blood that's there at the end, and when you finally got to see him and everything. But it's just it's a weird movie. I can't figure this out.
Yeah,
I can't figure it out if I like it or
I'm
not.
with you.
it's
So,
unique.
Well, yeah. So whether we like it or not, I did watch it twice, Crystal. Kind of. I was doing stuff in the background the second time around, but okay. Number one, the music.
oh my gosh.
I mean,
yes.
that's the thing that
Yeah,
the music made it seem like it was trying to be a comedy, but nothing that was going on. That most of the jokes weren't funny if it was a comedy, and the stuff in the back, like the shoving the old lady in the wheelchair and her screaming and running it in fast motion, that was kind of funny. But it was also when he grabs her and starts running down the residential street with houses on both sides and she's screaming, I'm thinking, how far are you going to get? I don't know. I guess the wilderness was right around the corner. So yeah, the music is weird. And I'm looking at the composer, Victor Davies, and almost everything he did is kids related. Or animation.
Ew.
Even Tooth Fairy, Where Are You, The Nutcracker Princess,
That must have been all they had access to.
I don't know. It's just strange. So
I almost wonder if he even knew what he. They just write us some kids music, and it's like, yeah, they stuck it in.
well, in the closing music, I mean, there's a lot of scenes in here that I think could have been more atmospheric or more tense or more tragic, but the music was so odd. Maybe they shot it and then decided, oh, this looks silly, so I don't know. The way the little girl that had the Abigail, I think, was she the one that walked, the way she walked into the pit? There was one person that walked into the pit that just looked funny. It was like little kids play acting, Anyway. So yeah, the music. Number two, on 70s, when we did The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, we said the nudity was needless in this movie about a 13-year-old girl. So now we have a movie about a 12-year-old boy, and we have 3 nude scenes. And 2 of them are the boy being a lech, kind of perv, and the third one is just totally gratuitous out at the rock quarry. I mean, there was no. I just was like, what was the point of that? All right. Do I go skinny dipping? No.
Oh,
I'm taking my top off anyway. Anyway.
There was actually more then, because there was the nipple too. The
Oh,
nipple,
yes,
then
that's
the
right.
shower, then him calling the girl on the phone.
You're right. 2 with
and
the
her-
same. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I'm looking at the workflowy that you have, and it says the director's wife refused to let him shoot the nude scenes. So the screenwriter shot them instead. Well, okay, fine. The only shot involving nudity that the director was allowed to film was the skinny dipping scene, and only because the actress was his daughter.
What? What?
I saw that. There were 2 people.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, that makes it fine. Now you realize why this movie is so nuts, because everything about this is nuts.
What?
I saw
Oh,
that
my
name down the list.
What?
Jennifer Lehman.
No.
I would pray for ravens to descend to the earth and claw my eyes out before I would film a nude scene with a daughter of mine. Oh my God. Yeah. No.
Yeah, and just all the stuff with this kid. So here's another one that I don't think they didn't act like it was a joke. There was no musical punch, but he's writing, I will not bring adult books to school, right? Or something like that on the board. And when he gets done, he goes, okay, go ahead and rub it out.
I
and
rub
you can
it
go
out.
home.
Yeah, but that wasn't even a thing back then, was it? Like
I
rubbing,
don't know.
I don't think that was a thing.
It was just
Yeah.
too
That wasn't meant to
weird
be
for me. Well, who says rub it out to erase the chalkboard even?
Yeah.
Yeah, you rub it out.
I mean,
You're like, I mean,
yeah, but
that
you
makes
just,
sense.
she'd just say, okay, go ahead and erase it, or
You'd
wipe
think.
it off. Or, yeah.
So do you think was that
I think it was
a
deliberate.
thing? You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Ew.
I know.
I did laugh a chuckle about it, but I thought it was just unintentional.
I didn't know. It just didn't. Maybe it's a Canadian term for erasing the chalkboard. I don't know.
I think everyone
Well,
in the
rub it
mostly empty
off.
theater
Like,
laughed.
I didn't think it was anything. Yeah, I didn't think it was
Anyway.
meant to be that way. But
Yeah, so and you're exactly right. That's what I couldn't figure out. Like it was like I couldn't decide what to do. Is it a comedy? It's got like almost like we're going to the circus kind of music in the background half the time, or is it a movie about a demonic teddy bear, or is it a movie about these ancient creatures in the pit? Either one of those things could have been a movie by itself, but what Teddy has to do with it, and then they couldn't decide what to call them. The credits call them trogs. The kid calls them trolologs, and someplace else they're trologs. So I don't know. The whole thing just seemed. And then help me out here, Bill, because I think the screenwriter said it was a lot darker.
Yeah, and that we were never supposed to really be sure that the trogs were real, or that Teddy was real, or anything. That it was most likely this was just a seriously crazy kid. But that got ditched.
And he was supposed to be 8 or 9 years old. The director made him older and added more humor to the original script.
I think that was actually a very smart decision, honestly. Being 8 or come on. No.
Yeah. People were going to laugh at this. So when you've got a premise that people are going to laugh at, you might as well make it on purpose. But you know, as nuts as this movie is, the thing that makes it kind of unique is I get the feeling this is exactly and precisely the movie they set out to make. It's not like they tried to make a movie and it ended up being this thing that everybody's like, what the hell? They set out to make a what the hell movie, and they got what they wanted. I don't know why they decided to make this the way they did, but I think it.
I really think it's hilarious and weird and wacky, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, and I loved it. So maybe that's why they made it, because I really like this movie. I think I like weird. And this is so freaking weird to me. Like, I was sitting here with my jaw open. Is this really happening? Is this really what's going on?
I mean, I like it too, but I feel like even in this crowd, it's for selective taste. I mean, when you make a movie about the picked on kid who gets his revenge, you always make him sympathetic, and he's the least sympathetic. Even the bullies are more sympathetic than he is.
See, but I felt bad for him. See, I don't know. I felt bad for him.
But here's the thing. I'm going along with that. It's like, okay, so this is a movie where Carrie is awful, and then all of a sudden we get the bathtub scene out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, this is really making me uncomfortable. And now suddenly I'm like, well, this is why this kid is so messed up. This is taking a dark, but it's not really developed. It's dropped. So
we don't really know if his mom washes him all the time. We're hearing this from him too.
He's a pathological liar. But
is he a liar though? Is he? What did he lie about?
Well,
he didn't lie at all. He didn't lie about anything. I didn't steal it.
I didn't steal your stuff.
Oh, he didn't lie about that.
Maybe he never actually said he didn't. He just ran away. I don't know. So there's some great lines in this movie that
He did say she ran off with her boyfriend too, which we know.
Well,
did he frame the boyfriend?
Ran off the cliff.
He
did. Yeah, he put stuff in the kid. This kid's Machiavellian. I don't know.
He did what now? Oh yeah, I don't know. We
put stuff in the car that
He saw the car and it was like a convertible sports car or something. So I think you could have done
the cops are like, hey, so but we found your blood and DNA into this, and they're trying to get him to confess. It's like, no, you would go the electric chair with the evidence that this kid put in your car. And I don't, and he doesn't.
And then he got off too. I don't know. Okay, that was kind of weird. Like I get it how the kid got off.
Once the trogs were released, then they realized
it was them.
Yeah.
And these people are so stupid. They've got trogs. They've got this like little mini homicidal Bigfoot And their solution is, we better shoot them all and bury them before people find out about it. And they pay you $10 million for their corpses. This would be like the greatest thing ever. You find like the Loch Ness monster dead on the shore of your local pond. You don't hide it.
Yeah, there was
I don't understand that. That was weird.
There's some, but I just thought there was some great lines in here. So maybe this is the part that was supposed to be funny. But the little kid, when she's yelling at him, telling, Abigail's calling Jamie really terrible things. Why don't you go back where you came from, funny person? I don't
funny,
know.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I, a clown?
I like another one. This isn't a cave. It's a big hole in the ground.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Aggravated me.
A cave. It's kind of a hole in the ground. Think you can scare me, funny person? Here it comes. There it goes. And then the goofy guy that says he saw these creatures in the cornfield, I think, that local, and then says, well, I forget exactly what he says. If a crowd shows up, if outsiders show up, you better not tell them anything because it'll probably get in the papers or something.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. That one struck me too.
He reminded me of Mater from
Mater,
Cars, the Pixar movie. Well, right. I guess he's mad because he didn't get
And look, you moved out to Beaver Dam. You want to be left alone. It's a quiet town where people mind their own business. If some little old lady is being dragged down the street by some crazy kid, you just close the drawers and just go back, watch little Mork and Mindy on TV, and don't get involved. You don't want a bunch of newspaper people coming talking about your mysterious trolls. Where the hell did they come from? Most movies would have the scene where the kid finds the trolls and explains, have they been living in the ground forever? Well, yeah.
How did the pit open up? Where did they come from?
Did one fall in the pit and the others fell in trying to rescue them? How stupid are these things? Why are they in a pit?
They were able to climb out, so they're not.
Yeah, all they needed
when they had a rope. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So I'm not.
That takes intelligence,
I'm certainly not giving you a hard time, Crystal, because I could see how you could like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I don't care if I'm the only one that likes it.
I like it. I like it just fine.
All right.
I don't know what it is about this movie that I really enjoyed. And like I said, at first, when they had that beginning scene and stuff, I was like, ooh, turn me off completely. I don't understand why that was there. I was like, this movie's going to be garbage. And then when you start off with the kid, I was like, oh, why did they not just start the movie here? Because they go back to that same scene. It's just very
I know, that's
strange.
They used to do that. I was going to say, they used to do that a lot with movies that they would put on TV, and they discovered the movie wasn't long enough. So they would just take a scene from the middle and put it at the beginning before the credits. But no, this was the way it was. So it's a weird choice.
The part where the kid hits him, that's replayed in like 7 minutes. It's barely into the movie. It takes longer to when he goes towards the end where he gets them. But so it does say, you're right, Bill. It does say Sammy Snyders was 14 years old at the time this film was shot. And he would go out dancing at a disco bar in Beaver Dam on his off hours.
At 14?
It's Beaver Dam. Come on. It was
Oktoberfest, probably.
Listen, in Beaver Dam, if he's 14 years old, they're probably gossiping why he hasn't married yet.
Okay, so look at that teddy bear. What
does trip me out though is like her being nude right there with him.
Laws are a bit looser there in Canada.
Apparently, or because
in the shower.
It's always so weird with movies. Or what about with her nipple?
That could have been. That could have been cuts, right?
Yeah, that could have been.
Well, look at this right here. This shot right here.
That's Oh, that could be 1981 CGI.
Wasn't that Olivia Newton-John's #1 hit at that year? I don't know.
I guess she could have maybe bikini bottoms on or something. I don't know.
Sure. Let's go with
I'm just
that.
saying they're cutting it a little close
They are.
to.
Yeah, I had the same thought about this one.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, boy, it sure looks like. Because then he walks right by her, and the camera's like.
They almost caught the eye of the Beaver Dam Social Services.
So that's Sammy Snyders.
This chair.
Yeah, I don't recall the bear's eyes glowing at any point in the movie, but
No, the other ones are yellow, but
Yeah.
maybe they were just trying to
I mean, I'm talking about from the poster they
do a
gave
Right.
Eddie the
Yeah,
They
because
have
like
kind of a scarier doll. It's
Yeah.
kind of a pretty
they
plain.
probably had a stand-in. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Here's where we go poop.
And
And there's a little creeper down at the bottom there, just being creepy.
yes,
What would this
Oh
kid
my
have
god.
And she knew because when
she. Yeah.
when he went out to get on her Abigail's bike and it fell apart, and Abigail
she
had
knew.
the most
Mhm.
annoying laugh,
Yeah.
like 20 minutes. She knew.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Well, in fact, she says something to.
Yeah, she's like, "Don't play with her anymore." Like,
Well, I
not
think she
like-
says.
well, not like don't play with my daughter anymore, but like I don't think
Just
you
like
should
it.
be playing with her.
Well, I think
There's
she's.
something wrong with her.
Somebody says something to Sandy. I think there's something you should know about that boy. And I don't know if it's her or if it was the teacher that she just seemed
It
to
was her.
already know and go jogging with.
Well, because
Um,
okay, the teacher was who she was. This woman
Oh,
already
that's the-
knew. This
Okay.
woman knew. This is the librarian who
Yeah,
is the
gotcha,
girl's
gotcha.
aunt, not her mom. It's her aunt,
Right. Yeah.
and
Right,
she
Right.
already knew about him because she got the piece with her face on it.
Right,
And,
right.
and then the teacher comes to her and says, Jamie had the book. So she knew
Right.
who it was. She
Right.
knows what a freaking pervert he is. She knows what a weirdo he is. But she doesn't want the niece to still talk to him like he's a big old weirdo. Like he's a jerk.
Okay.
I don't think though she immediately thought it was him that was calling.
Is there a kid in this
No.
movie who isn't a weird, annoying jerk? I mean, all
No.
the kids in this movie are
No.
awful. That's kind of an interesting flip. Usually, the kids are likable. You know, at least there's a few likable kids in the
I
adults.
always hate kids.
Ah,
I
well,
always hate the kids. They always write the kids as whiny little brats, and I can't stand it. Because I
They
would
really
never
ramped it up
allow
here.
my child to talk to me like
Oh,
that.
there we
Ooh.
go. I gotta say, yeah, as creepy as the Bond, look at if you can really see the look of glee on his face as he's pushing that little old lady is actually some primo acting right there. He looks like he's having the time of his life.
But
there he is.
look,
Special episode of The Pit.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And then the bottom.
So she's actually watching the back of a 14-year-old in this scene.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has trunks on.
I'm sure he does too.
I mean, it's not. I don't think that's that weird. I mean, it's just someone's, but it's still so gross and cringy because of him.
Yeah. When that
I
thing
think
just
she's really trying to nurture him and help him and guide him until he says, "Do you like to wash me?"
but then the thing that comes after is basically my mom washes me all the time. You're like, what?
So weird.
I don't think I'm dirty. Like, where are we
Yes.
going in your movie?
That actually made me go back and check to see if I was watching the right movie.
My mom reads to me every night. So, looking through the Laura Hollingsworth, Marg Livingstone. This is her only credit.
Is that the woman at the top? Is that what you're talking about?
No, the aunt, the librarian.
Oh, okay.
And what was the other one? John Auten, who is the library janitor.
Hmm.
He just has a couple of scenes standing there looking, I guess, or
I don't remember him at all. But
yeah.
sure.
Oh, he was the guy that looked up at him. the
It's
fire
like, get down
escape.
from there. Mhm.
Yeah, probably. Paul Grisham as Freddie and Wendy Schmidt as Christina, the two, the guy that punched him in the ballerina costume girl. That's their only credits. So
this
Wow,
wasn't a
lots of
stepping stone to
first-timers.
greatness. Yeah.
not for
I
most
don't know.
of them.
This chick right here, she does a lot of voices for video games.
She was
Yes.
good in this, I thought.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
good, yeah.
Good.
Well, I thought they were okay. The teacher was okay. She didn't have much to do. The aunt / librarian, I thought she was okay, even though that's her only
I
Only
think she did a
credit.
great job.
Yeah.
Actually.
That top lobby card or whatever that is just screams comedy.
yeah.
It does.
And then
It
the
does.
one on the bottom screams something else.
It just makes you want to scream. Yeah.
But I would never think that was a horror movie at the top.
And give the kid credit. I mean, I wouldn't say his
It looks like
performance.
they're both running away from something. On
Yeah.
the top one.
I wouldn't say his performance is great, but it's actually perfect for what
this,
he's
yeah.
doing. Yeah. So
Yeah, he seems like a socially awkward,
yeah.
middle schooler. It's,
Who likes his back washed?
Ew.
Who doesn't?
so apparently,
Let you forget it.
There's the Trogs. So this is Trog version 2, I believe, because the initial
so
one. And we have
they
a
weren't-
picture of what I think are the initial ones, and it's god awful.
is that
I
the
think
early
Behind the
ones?
scenes, BTS. Yeah, look at that.
What?
Look at that thing. Holy
That's
free
horrible. That's awful.
I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I found this photo in a collection of photos from the pit, some behind the scenes stuff, and that just looks so terrible.
Good Lord.
I'm guessing that because they did say that they weren't happy with the original concept and they went to something else.
They should call Joan Crawford and borrow hers.
Yeah,
Her trog. She has a trog.
yeah.
She did.
We'll have to do that movie sometime.
Ugh.
Wow.
So
Wow.
bad.
Well, and it's interesting, and who knows how these trivia details are written, but the original Trog costumes were deemed not realistic enough.
You think?
Well,
You think?
So the new costumes were
be honest,
recreated
that
in
He's
a-
got like a hula skirt on. It looks
Yeah.
like a hula skirt.
blue skin on the top and nothing on the bottom. I mean, I don't think it's the lack of realism. I don't think the ones that they replace them with are realistic, but they're definitely better monsters. I mean,
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right. Well, that was kind of my point.
Yeah.
More
No,
realistic, I guess.
I know that's the quote, that they weren't realistic enough. It's like, oh, dude, this does not look real, but I'll take it. At least it does look like a
It looks
monster.
more real than whatever that first
Yeah.
one was, though. Literally, it's like a fur hula skirt. It's so bad.
These look like miniature werewolves.
And
Yeah.
they just look like whatever, something different, which is fine.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I thought they were
pretty
okay.
easy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were fine.
Yeah, it's the 80s.
And, from the back, they kind of look like a guy in a ghillie suit or a cousin
Yeah.
or somebody running.
I wish
around.
they'd put up a better fight when they finally. I would have liked to have seen Paint the Town Red. These things running loose. Basically, do like humanoids from the deep when they get up and maybe it's the middle of the corn festival or whatever you do in Beaver Dam, and they just
Corn festival.
start tearing things up. But I guess that was beyond the budget.
If people run screaming.
Instead, they get chased by a bunch of goobers with rifles, and they jump back down in their pit.
Yeah.
Not very bright.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They looked really cool when they were in the pit with the glowing eyes and everything.
yeah.
Mhm.
They did.
Because you couldn't make them out. That's why.
That's
they're in the dark.
yeah. That sometimes that's better.
The truth is, it's totally possible that they could have survived down there just in the pit you got to figure there's bugs and creatures and critters that would be falling in or going around or whatever.
Well, apparently there's a tunnel system. According to
or that.
the end of the movie, yeah.
Yeah.
It may also not surprise you to know that this director, Lew Lehman, this is the only film he directed.
Well, I think with all the guff he got from his wife, apparently he wasn't really doing
Yeah,
his job.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
not if she's going to be like, you can't do that or
can't do
whatever.
nude
or-
scenes.
Well, this
Yeah.
may
She's
be
doing
where
them nudie
he
movies again.
this may be where he knew the composer, because he has some credits on some in the music department on some television shows. A fair odd writer credits, some odd acting credits, and that's it. Producer, just interesting. I always.
I mean, maybe it sounds like you could make a pretty good movie about the making of this movie. I mean, sounds like some guy who's never directed a movie before collected $1 million somehow, raised $1 million, made this movie for, I'm guessing, a lot less than $1 million, and I don't know what happened to the rest of it. And then it made 560. So,
Well, could they not get it in any more theaters? They literally only got picked up by 2 theaters. Ugh.
In the
Who-
U.S.
Well,
who
that's
would
all that was
spend
in.
all that money.
It's the only
Yeah,
place I could find any box office thing. I
I don't
be
know. Maybe,
surprised if it didn't show in more theaters in Canada. But I kind of
Well,
assumed
like-
this was like opening weekend in like Beaver Dam and Oshkosh or something.
yeah, maybe, the locals got to see the movie they made. Filmed in Beaver Dam. But, and then you watch the movie and you point, it's like, oh, look, that's Renee's croissant shop or whatever, and as they walk by it and everything. But yeah, that's got limited appeal. I don't see this opening in a whole lot of big theaters first run. I could see it being in a drive-in as part of a triple terror feature, but
Yeah.
I never heard of this film until it showed up on videotape. I mean, I never once saw any ads for it or
Mhm.
anything.
Well, we wouldn't have if it was only, what was it, 2 theaters? And
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
it's crazy.
They
I
may
wonder
have,
how
may
many-
have mentioned it in Fangoria or something, but
I wonder how many movies there are like that just got virtually no release and didn't get the videotape that this one got. If there's a bunch of hidden gems out there just waiting to be rediscovered.
That's interesting.
Probably.
I just feel like when I went to school or went to college in St. Louis, there were a bunch of local bands. So this was early '80s. A lot of really good local new wave bands. They had some local hits, great songs, and I can't find them to save my life. If you didn't get that little vinyl pressing that they made, probably less than a couple hundred, it's gone. And you wonder how many great tunes are there, because I bet every town, every major city had a band like that. Probably several.
Even in Iowa, when I was in like junior high and high school, there was some local band that was sort of a
Yeah.
hit. They played at all the functions and stuff, and they had a little 45 that was a top 40 in the local playlist, but I've never heard or seen of them since then, and I can't remember their name right now. With the wonders of YouTube, sometimes you can find stuff like that, but
I think that's also true with film. There's a lot of regional films that were made, not as many as now because it's cheaper, but if it weren't for videotape, somebody saw this, got a hold of it, and said, "We can market this." They made a great poster. As far as I know, that poster was for the videotape. I don't think it was a movie poster. I've never seen a movie poster for sale. That's something I should probably go look up.
I guess it just shocks me that someone would, if it's to be believed, that someone, especially at this time, would put $1 million into a movie without any distribution. Typically, you have some sort of deal already, at least to some degree, in place. And
it's
odd.
So the farther back you go, the crappier the box office numbers are. So, like, this doesn't even show up that Ultimate Movie Rankings that I use all the time. It's not even on there.
Yeah.
And in IMDb, I think it does say 560 on the main page, and then you go to the pro page, and it says 2 theaters, September 30th to October 6th. That's all it says. And I can't believe that. It's hard to, even if you were only going to open in 2 theaters, you would think there'd be some sort of connection that would draw more than $280 per theater. You know,
I don't know how much a ticket was back then. Though,
like in Beaver Dam well, maybe that's true too. But anyway, so any final thoughts or things left unsaid here that tripped your trigger? That it's, I think the fact that the director changed it from what the original intent was, I think is what makes it weird to me. Yeah. Feels weird, like it doesn't have an even tone.
It's trying to tell too many stories, and and not resolving hardly any of them.
But
that keeps you on your toes.
No one, I think no one would like it if it was done in the original. I think then it's just there's nothing
Special.
even charming about it.
Right.
At least it's a little weird and charming. And
it could have been like Child's Play before Child's Play, only it was a teddy bear. It could have been.
No.
But I like.
Seems like a crazy kid.
Right. The thing that interests me the most is the trogs, the creatures in the pit. That's.
Yeah.
I like it too. Kind of reminds me of Critters.
Well, those kind of monsters are cool, where you don't know where they come from or why they're there.
They are.
But and that's something else that they could have really went into a little bit more. But they're just in the pit. They're just there.
I'm surprised this hasn't been remade. For one thing.
Well, I was thinking about that too. Yeah.
But it's creepy.
And when I'm thinking about this, it kind of reminds me of an actual true story. They could have slapped based on a true story on this, because I remember it was a while back, but in Florida, no shock. There was a big alligator that showed up in a pond, and the local kids started kidnapping people's pets to throw them into the pond and watch the alligator eat them.
Oh Lord!
So that's pretty awful. But
welcome to Florida, pal.
Basically have those kids getting rid of some people who deserve it. Now it's kind of like the Goonies with trogs.
Okay. Other final thoughts?
Well, they should have called it The Shit.
I can't believe I'm the only one that really likes it.
I like it.
I'm just like.
I don't know.
I watched it twice. I mean,
you were the only one I thought might like it. Actually, when I put this out there, I'm like, I'm gonna catch hell for this. The only question I have is everyone going to dislike it, or will Crystal throw me a bone here? So yeah, it went about as well as I thought.
It's so weird. I just think there's something about it though. It is.
Canadian.
I love the whole after school special feel of it, where it's just entirely creepy and weird and wrong. It's so wrong. Yeah.
Well, everything
very wrong.
Some parts. The writer saying that it was changed, the director's wife not letting him fill the nude scenes except for his daughter. That's just
oh my God, I don't understand that. It's like art imitating life in that regard. So
you feel like I feel like this is a movie that, like I said earlier, that 15-year-old me would have liked. Which is, I think that's kind of a strange phenomenon anyway. You watch something.
No, I think 15-year-old you seeing boobs would be like great movie.
You're exactly right. Exactly right. But at the same
this kid's my hero.
Yeah. But at the same time, it had other stuff that 15-year-old guys like, blood, gore.
Yeah.
That
Monsters.
kind of thing.
Monsters.
And again, at the time, that would have just, I feel like it would have just been another movie in the long list of movies I've seen and liked. Mm-hmm. But I guess seeing it now and the creepiness factor of it.
Yeah,
having never seen it before is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird.
All right.
I'm still gonna call it shit.
Okay. But you gotta admit, that's definitely one of the best endings ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I thought
it was a good ending.
I thought he was gonna here was his chance to be a normal kid, Hey, look what I found.
And apparently this one was a much deeper pit because his scream went on and on and on.
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the credits.
At the end. All right, that's it for this episode. But we do have some feedback
No.
from 3 pieces of feedback on episode 186, Near Dark.
Mhm.
Jerry Chandler
Uh-oh.
Yay.
Hello, Jerry.
one of my favorite vampire films. Just love this film so much.
This is true.
Yeah.
And
He copied and pasted that from my Facebook page.
Jerry knows vampires.
I
Jerry's
might
a
have.
big vampire
I
fan.
Jeremiah the Pisces, and I don't remember if he's been decades of horror before, but I've read his stuff somewhere, maybe if it was on this one or another one. Jeremiah the Pisces says, one of the best vampire movies of all time, finger licking good.
Yeah. Yeah, he comments on the Gruesome ones.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Thanks for watching.
Tanya Taylor, can you can you see this stuff, Crystal, or
No, I can't. Oh.
Somebody
did you want
else-
me to read? Oh. Oh.
that's all right.
I was like, you can read it. You can read it.
It's a little longer. Thank you for another wonderful episode. Near Dark is criminally underrated. I remember watching, I believe, Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments with Lance Henriksen, remembering how Bill Paxton approached him with this movie and Lance thinking it was one of the dumbest things he'd ever heard. Paraphrasing, of course. So glad he changed his mind. Thank you again. You are all awesome. Art.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Actually,
Thanks so
that
much,
sounds
Tanya.
like I want to watch that 100 Scariest. Bravo.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's good. Yeah.
It is good. It may spoil a few for you, though,
If you haven't seen them.
if you haven't seen them all. But it is.
All right. That's it, Grue Believers. Every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next up is one chosen by Crystal.
It's a good
What
one.
are we watching?
I can't
What are we
believe we
watching?
haven't done this before, but it's Basket Case. So, I mean, everyone's seen Basket Case. I know everyone out there has seen Basket Case.
Frank Henenlotter.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
it is.
everyone here.
It's
Yeah.
currently on Shudder. So you know, if you haven't seen or want to watch before the episode comes out,
God, I love this movie.
excellent. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So plenty of ways to stay in touch with us. Please send feedback to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com, or better yet, leave comments on the YouTube channel, Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, alerts. I'll let you know when they go live.
Yay.
And you can also listen to all of Gruesome Magazine's content, which includes Horror News Radio, Decades of Horror, Classic Hero, 1970s, 1980s, Heroes and Droids, and the Gruesome Magazine podcast that reviews direct-to-digital horror movies. Yeah, you can hear all that on a podcast app too, but it's much better to watch our ugly faces and then quickly look at Cleveland, so you don't have to see.
I was like, no, I was totally down with that. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And what do you mean R?
Okay. Well, I know who they
Sounds like-
won't be looking at.
So,
Yeah.
Somebody better be speaking for themselves.
Because I know you didn't.
All righty. Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s. As only decades of horror can do it. Thank you so much, guys
Thank you.
and gal.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. You say guys, I don't care.
Love you all. Say goodnight.
Love you too. Good
night,
night.
Night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.